Hi, everybody. This is John Murphy at Murtech.com with your daily news update. Sorry, I got distracted there. But at any rate, here we are on July the 23rd in the year of our Lord 2026. And I've got some great information for you. So let's go ahead and click over here to my Murtech on Rumble channel. And here we are. This is episode 1987. Let's go ahead and jump into this. And let's see, we have Viper Seniors joined us in the chat already. Good job. Let's slide down here. Let me close this out. I'll get back with you here momentarily, Viper. Let me click the show more button to expand out the description box. Okay, we have information from Dan Bongino, ACLJ Sekulow, Dr. Steve Turley, and Wendy Bell Radio. But before we get into that, I do need to give some shout outs to Santino Copeland, just started following my channel. Anita May Groen just started following my channel. Foy Salk Kobir just started following my channel. My Ya just started following my channel. Dennis 1958 just started following my channel. Auto Shield just started following my channel. And Ella Murphy 2000 just started following my channel. So thank you very much, folks, for following my channel. I greatly appreciate that. I hope you're tuned in tonight, and I hope you enjoy the content. Alrighty, Debbie BS reposted my episode 1986. Debbie BS, Santino Copeland, Glow, Viper Senior, and Cottonball 31 commented on my episode 1986. Debbie BS commented on my extra 769A and 769B and 769C. So thank you very much, folks, for reposting my videos and giving me your comments. I enjoy reading your feedback, and I definitely appreciate your support. So let me go ahead and give this a thumbs up. And Viper Senior, good evening, fellow Patriots. Where we go one, we go all. Rumble 5 tonight. Good job, Viper. All right, I'll give you a thumbs up, too. Okay, let's see what this is all about. Dan Bongino, did they know? Now we're going to have these episodes. We're going to talk a lot about, or these snippets that I'm going to share here. They're going to talk a lot about the voter fraud that the Democrats and mainstream media say didn't happen. Where's the proof? Where's the proof? We're going to talk a little bit about that tonight. So let's go ahead and see what Dan Bongino has to say. They knew. They sure as hell knew, and they lied. Amazingly. I know it's hard for you to believe that the Democrats and the mainstream media would lie to you, but yeah, they knew.
Let's get rolling. This is the most important story of the day. Everything we've told you about election integrity, the potential for fraud, the problem with mass mail-in balloting, the problem with ballot harvesting, everything we told you based in logic and reason. If you mail stuff through the mail and there's no one at a voting location to check your ID and see who you are, how do you know that's the person who mailed it? What are you going to do? Watch every single person sign and mail it? This was common sense stuff. Leftist media people, hacks, goons, and commies told you you're crazy. You're an election denier. Guy, you're the longest. Have we ever denied an election happened? We have not. Thank you. So calling us election deniers makes you look like a bunch of assholes, correct? The New York Times must be election deniers too. Adam Liptak, New York Times, 2012. I can't put this article up enough. It makes a mockery of you leftist media dipshits. Error and fraud at issue as absentee voting rises. I said to Guy, can you find out Liptak? He goes, I've never heard of it. Of course, he's being sarcastic. It's a real article. It's still there. You can look it up. They've already acknowledged that mail-in voting and all of this stuff is an issue. The only reason they changed their mind is because they hate Donald Trump and they think they can cheat to win now. Mail-in ballots back in the day used to be seniors and military folks who voted Republican, so the New York Times hated it. And then when they found out they can use it to cheat in elections, like, mail-in ballots are freaking great, bro. We love them. Wait, you just said the opposite. You just said the opposite. I want you to watch this. I saw this on, was it Jen Pellegrino's X account? She pulled this out. It's a really good video. It's short. I cut about 30 seconds of it. This is pre-2024 election. This is it's right around the election season, I should say. I don't have the exact date on it. This is NBC News claiming that all this stuff is really just hysteria. Nothing to see here, folks. Voter fraud, voter registration by illegals. It's all kind of red herring distraction by President Trump. Are we going to get an apology? Everyone, please take this segment of the show or the clip or go to Jen's feed or stuff. You don't need to put me in it. I don't really care. Please tag NBC on X and say, hey, when are we going to get a retraction for this obviously false material? This is how long they've been sticking to this bullshit argument that this stuff doesn't exist, voter fraud, nothing to see here. Check this out.
On the debate stage.
A lot of these illegal immigrants coming in, they're trying to get them to vote.
And at campaign stops across the country.
They're not citizens. They're not allowed to do it. It's illegal as hell.
Former President Trump frequently repeats false claims about migrants voting.
They can't speak a word of English for the most part, but they're signing them up.
That's not true. It's illegal for non-U.S. citizens to vote for president or in any federal election. And there have been few recorded incidents of non-citizens trying to vote illegally. There's also no evidence of anyone trying to get undocumented migrants to vote, according to experts.
Folks, Trump was right again. Trump was right again. Version what? 72.6? Lucky Trump. We haven't had Lucky Trump. But look, this guy, man, he's the guy. He's not the luckiest guy. It's the incredible. Lucky Trump. How does this guy keep continuing to get so? Yeah, I'm like, hey, and say, when are we going to get a correction about this? We're just asking. Freak of your integrity, NBC. When are you going to correct that? Now we know that the New Jersey election story, where 6,600 at a minimum illegals were registered to vote, and hundreds of them, in fact, did vote, is obviously factually incorrect. At the end of the show, again, it'll come up in a different. It's right here. Do facts matter to you? Don't answer right away. I know some people instinctively, oh yeah, no, I'm dead serious. To the crazies who watch them on the dipshits and the Media Matters goons and everyone else, do facts matter to you? If not, what does? If facts don't matter to you, then what does matter? It's a fair question, right? NBC, do facts matter? Retract and apologize to President Trump. You can do it. Remember that Ice Cube song? You can do it. Put your ass into it. You can do it. You don't even have to put your ass into it. You can just do it. The story gets worse now. 6,600 people at a minimum illegally registered to vote in the blue state of New Jersey. Wow, what a coinky dink. Hundreds of them do vote. Of course, it's all a Republicans' pounce story. Republicans don't focus on the actual scandal. Focus on the reaction of Republicans like me. Republicans pounce. Go F yourself, dipshits. Here's John Solomon last night, doing some great work on transparency, by the way. Here's John Solomon last night talking about how this is now getting clear. And ladies and gentlemen, did they know? Did New Jersey knowingly put these? You may say, oh, yes, they knew. We're going to follow the fact like glowing media. Something's real suspicious here. Put up the headline first, if you would. Here's Just the News. It's an excellent outlet. John's affiliated with over there. Software vendor that's being blamed for illegals registering in New Jersey now is disputing the New Jersey governor's glitch claim. Says the state's approved all these foreigners basically on the voter roll. Wow, that's an interesting little curveball. Throw the hook. Time for the slider. Time for Mariano Rivera's cutter. Now we go from, it was a mistake, a software glitch, to the software company. No, there's no glitch. This stuff. Here's Solomon. Is a major curveball to this story. Check this out.
Last night, the New Jersey governor admitted that 6,600 illegal aliens had made it onto New Jersey's voter rolls. At least that number could be a lot larger. And 400 of them actually cast a vote. That is the largest number ever done in any election in America's history. When we told you The guy said, our fault was a software glitch, no big deal. Well, overnight, we reached out to the software company that runs New Jersey's system. And you know what they said? There's no software glitch at all. The state of New Jersey knew they were letting non-citizens, i.e. foreigners, onto the voter rolls. It is the state's responsibility to determine who is eligible to vote and who's not. The software had it marked right. There is an investigation of New Jersey now into whether they legally allow non-citizens to vote and to get on voter rolls. Remember, a week ago, she sent a letter out saying, if you let non-citizens vote knowingly, you're in trouble. Well, now the vendor's comments raise the very strong possibility that one of the blue states in America may have acceded to allowing non-citizens to vote.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm on the outside now. However, I am reasonably confident viewing it from the outside that I'm coincidental after Trump's speech on Thursday. There is no freaking way. I wouldn't be surprised at all. Again, no one's out of PDB every morning anymore. I'm telling you, I'm not surprised at all if coming out as this investigation in Georgia and Arizona gets hot, coming out and trying to beat the news cycle to tell you a story and not the story, which is what Governor Mikey Sherrill appears to be telling you. Oh, it's just a glitch. The software, there's no hundreds of people illegally vote state where I just showed you the Grok question yesterday. Hundreds of elections were decided over the last decade. Local city referendum, ballot referendum by 100 votes or less. NBC, you going to correct your story? Folks, if people don't have faith in the system, there is an easy way to reestablish faith in the system. You believe a product you're using, whatever it is. You buy vitamins, Joey Bag of Donuts vitamins, whatever the hell they are. If that's a real company, I'm sorry that I'm using the Joey Bag of Donuts vitamins. You go do a chemical test. You find out there's no vitamins in there. There's an easy way for you to rebuild your company's credibility. You go and get a third party to verify. We're sorry, we screwed up, bad processes, whatever it may be. You're going to have, like Taco Bell and others are going to have to do this too. Maybe bring in like a third party vendor to check the food sanitation, whatever it may be. That's how you rebuild trust. That's how you can do this now too with the SAVE Act. You can rebuild trust and make these stories not go away, but be less impactful if people at least believe going forward that the problems of the past have been fixed because people showing up have proved who they are. You don't want to, Democrats, because you're enjoying the status quo, which is clearly cheating, which New Jersey admitted to. Folks, again, this New York Times piece, again, more homework for you, 2-in-1 show. Just, this is easy. Just care, mail-in error, and they only cared at the time because it was Republicans who were using mail-in ballots. Military folks and seniors, largely Republicans, not all. And they were like, man, this mail-in vote, it's such a problem. They even got an election official to admit the more people, this is a quote, folks, the more people you force to vote by mail, the more invalid ballots you will generate. It's right in the damn piece. Adam Liptak, 2012, October 6th. Exactly, this wasn't asked where mail-in balloting was limited to basically people with. Now you've got liberal states just sending a ballot to everyone. You got hair gels, California, where they can't even count a freaking vote in an election. We're probably still not sure who the Los Angeles mayor's. This is insane. You know what? Put up those media headlines first from CNN. I just want to show you, like, again, if you were a sucker, and I asked the question before in the beginning of the show, and you've made the stupid choice. SIAC, kids, SIAC. Stupid is a choice, and you've chosen stupid. You don't believe in facts. Why do you not believe in facts, number one? And second, what do you believe in if you don't believe in facts? Here's CNN Politics changing story about election fraud. We're going to get apologies from them. Chris Cillizza, the guy who told you Trump's chances of winning in the Washington Post were zero after he won. Election fraud isn't really a thing. Part infinity. You get the joke, guys? You see what he did there? Part infinity. This is really funny, Faye. Here's Marshall Cohen in CNN Politics. They've diversified the buffoonery around. 6,600 non-citizens mistakenly added to New Jersey voter rolls and nearly 400 cast ballots, governor says. Mistakenly, he's already assumed that that's true. He knows that? Marshall, you've done that homework? You know it's a mistake, despite now allegations from the software vendor that it's not? You going on the record, Marshall, with that? You sure? Here's the story again a day later. New Jersey non-citizen voting reveal isn't all it seems. Aaron Blake, wasn't he in that Chris Cillizza Washington Post headline? Trump's chances of winning are approaching zero. Why do you still believe these people?
All right, I'm going to pause that there, and that's a very good question. That some people do actually believe these people. This video is going to be in my daily news wrap-up, so if you want to watch more of this, tune in there. Let me click on the Rumble link and show you that this video does come from the Dan Bongino show. Is the video I shared with you. I've given him a thumbs up. I hope you do the same thing for me. Okay, let's jump back here. And Viper Senior and Glow has joined me in the chat. Anybody else feel like jumping in there? That would be supercalifragilistic. Let me close that out and slide down here and see what ACLJ Sekulow has to say. American Center for Law and Justice caught New Jersey election nightmare exposed. Here we go.
We have learned now.
This is only the tip of the iceberg, I feel, folks. I feel we're going to get a lot more information on this.
The thousands of non-U.S. citizens were registered to vote in New Jersey due to what they're saying is a software error. This is from the governor. They're saying more than 6,000 non-citizens were accidentally added to the New Jersey voter roll due to a software error. They said fewer than 400 of them did cast the ballots, though, which I guess is a good thing. We also have 400 people going in and casting a ballot.
The Department of Homeland Security earlier this month said that New Jersey had more than 35,000 non-citizens on its voting rolls. The only reason we're hearing about this story is because the Department of Homeland Security was making this accusation earlier this month. They're trying to downplay this story in New Jersey of like, look, it's not that big of a deal. It's just a glitch. It always seems that it's those on the left in blue states that have these glitches that affect the very topics and things that conservatives are concerned about. But here's what they claim happened. That when you go, and this is a part of the motor voter registration, which is from 1993, there was a federal law, National Motor Voter National Registration Act of 1993, commonly referred to as the motor voter law, where they gave guidance to the states of how to make it easier for people to register to vote.
So when you're getting your
driver's license, you get automatically registered to vote. In New Jersey, as most places, you are checking a box that says citizen or non-citizen. They are now saying that 6,600 people that checked the appropriate box.
Yeah, they're not saying that people did anything wrong here.
Right. These 6,600 got added to the rolls because of a software glitch that's they've fixed now. And that even with that, those people that may have not even known that they were registered to vote, 400 of them went on to vote. Now, it always seems that they're able to say, oh, yeah, well, like the Department of Homeland Security wasn't really right because it wasn't as many. I have a feeling this is the tip of the iceberg in New Jersey. I feel like we're going to get more.
How can we safeguard this more? That's what we've talked about here. It's not about trying to keep certain people from voting or not voting. It is about how you actually streamline this clearly broken system.
Those of us that want election security, election integrity, we want everyone to feel a confidence that their vote will count, that their votes are not being canceled out by people who are voting illegally,
fraudulently,
or that there's not widespread fraud. The fact that it's become such a partisan issue that they are telling you over and over, those on the left that are trying to defeat things like the Save America.
Did you hear what he said there? It's such a partisan issue. How can voter fraud be a partisan issue? I guess that means it's for Democrats, it's okay. if there's fraud. But Republicans are against it. Is that what a partisan issue is regarding voter fraud? And he's right. He's absolutely right. It is a partisan issue.
They're calling it the loaded terms like Jim Crow 2.0 anytime you try and protect elections. And then whenever a story like this pops up, they try to minimize it. Like, listen to the reporting from Politico. Speaking with reporters at a hastily scheduled press conference, Cheryl, that's the governor of New Jersey, said there's no immediate proof that any of the roughly 400 non-citizens who cast ballots impacted the outcome of any individual election. Here's a big problem with that entire statement from the governor of New Jersey. It did impact 400 appropriate citizen voters' votes.
Right.
They were disenfranchised. You want to talk about protecting democracy? 400 people that voted that are registered American citizens that are supposed to vote. Their vote is effectively canceled by the 400 non-citizens who voted the opposite way that weren't supposed to. So I don't care if it's 400 or 400,000. You want to protect the individual person's right to vote. That's what they tell us. They say these voter protection laws will disenfranchise American citizens. No, what disenfranchises American citizens is having a system where for an entire year, a state's system and software has a glitch that what does it do? It lets people check the right box and they still get added to the rolls.
They told us that there was no fraud, and then they've migrated into no widespread fraud. But at the same time, they're not investigating. So how would they even know if it's widespread or not? I want to know why the last governor didn't come forward with this information. Why did we hear about this now? It's way too late. When there's fraud in an election, there needs to be alarm bells going off immediately, not some sort of a report that comes out in the next administration. I think this spells disaster for not only New Jersey, but certainly my home state of California and for a whole bunch of other blue states that we know there's fraud. And the way that the fraud is done, I can tell you in California, is that the voter rolls become bloated. They don't purge them the way they're supposed to when people move out or die. And then Gavin Newsom has decided that every single name on the voter roll gets sent a ballot through the mail. It's a total mess, and that's exactly what the Democrats want. What I would say is New Jersey is the tip of the iceberg.
These are also the types of states that whenever an organization does try to go say, hey, let's do an audit of the voter rolls. Let's try to clean up the voter rolls, make sure that there's people that are not still on these voter rolls that have passed away 25, 30 years ago. They push back and say, how dare you? You can't, this is our election integrity. You can't come examine these. You can't have outside groups try to look into this. It just rings so hollow when you see what's happening. They don't want you to find this error. There's no way that the governor of New Jersey wanted to be having this press conference. But it's because of continual pressure and shining a spotlight on the real problems. Now, they're trying to say, oh, it's not the 35,000 the DHS said. It's just 6,000. Now, are we sure? Are we sure that it's not just 6,000 from that error? I want more information. I want more accountability and more transparency from these states. And that's what we're fighting to do. Even look at what happened in Los Angeles. It only happens to one party. That there's a mirage. It looks like someone's winning and then they lose. Remember in LA with Spencer Pratt? Nithya Raman was crying on television because she knew she'd lost. She conceded that she came in third place. And then all of a sudden, the third place candidate got a disproportionate net 40,000 vote. That doesn't statistically make sense. That's why people are like, we have to look at this. Why didn't the other Democrat, Karen Bass, split it evenly? It doesn't make sense. But they tell you, if you're asking these questions, you're a conspiracy theorist. If you want them to investigate it, they won't. When they finally do, they say it was an error. When people say, we care about the integrity of our elections, and half the country or one political party says to you, you're a conspiracy theorist or you're making stuff up, or they start to get into a semantics game of like, well, this isn't fraud in New Jersey because it was an error. And so it was erroneous voting, not fraudulent voting. Like, they're going to start getting into this semantics game. You can never get to the point. The point isn't this individual case. The point is, in the United States of America, in 2026, we should have confidence and trust in our elections. And every time these things happen, it deteriorates and degrades the trust of the American people. That's not okay. We got to stop and get to the bottom of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I cannot disagree with a word they said. And, they're absolutely right. It's a partisan issue. Voter fraud is a partisan issue now. Amazing. Let me click on the Rumble link and show you that this video does come from American Center for Law and Justice. This is the video I shared with you. I've given him a thumbs up. I hope you do the same thing for me. All right, let's jump back here and let's see what Dr. Steve Turley has to say about Democrats in New Jersey. I mean, it's pretty much the same story, but I want you to get different takes on this from different people, because we can't pound this into these Democrats' heads enough that they have even been lied to. I mean, how many times has a Democrat gone to a primary and voted for a person, and then, oh, amazingly, some commie, some Democrat socialist gets in instead of the person that they actually wanted? I mean, it's not just the general election, it's in the primaries too, as you saw in Los Angeles. Let's check this out.
Ways you never even imagined. You know what to do. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. New Jersey Governor Mikey Sherrill stood in front of reporters yesterday and admitted what we've always known. She admitted that thousands of non-citizens were indeed registered to vote in her state.
In June of 2023, nearly 3 years before I became governor, a serious software error in New Jersey's motor vehicle system led to the improper voter registration of what we believe to be roughly 6,600 people in our state. When New Jerseyans applied for a driver's license or identification at the MVC, they were asked if they wanted to register to vote. In the case of this error, some individuals indicated that they weren't citizens and weren't eligible to vote, but the software registered them anyway.
Well, of course it did. That's what it's there for. It's called automatic voter registration, and this is precisely one of the consequences of it, and she knows it. It's deliberate. It's baked into the cake. It gets worse. We now know that hundreds of those over 6,000 non-citizens indeed voted. They cast ballots. Now, as you heard, Governor Mikey blamed a, quote, software error at the New Jersey Motor Vehicle Commission. She says people were literally checking the boxes as, I'm not a U.S. citizen, but the system somehow registered them anyway, registered them to vote for 3 years, by the way, under a Democrat administration, and the state Democrats have run for decades. And that software company is pushing back. Idemia, the software vendor Sherrill blamed, denies fault and says it merely transmits driver's license ID data through the DMV system. It's insisting it's the state's Division of Elections that bears ultimate responsibility for verifying voter eligibility. In other words, there was not a software error. People, government workers, bureaucrats put those non-citizens' names in the voter registration data. Don't blame the software. Needless to say, the company in New Jersey have since severed their 40-year partnership in the wake of this scandal. Now, you'll notice nowhere at any point in that pathetic admission did Governor Sherrill call for voter ID. She didn't call for voter ID. She didn't call for stricter citizenship checks. She didn't call for the passage of the SAVE Act. Nope. Instead, she turned around and attacked President Trump, saying that he's got zero credibility on the issue of election integrity. How's that for deflection? And deflection from someone who, while she was a representative, pushed the Russian collusion hoax. That's right. Mikey Sherrill repeatedly affirmed that Russia interfered in the 2016 election, which was by definition a hoax. In a 2019 subcommittee hearing she chaired on election security, she stated, and I quote, "The last two election cycles saw foreign interference in our election systems, and that we know the Russian intelligence service has already attacked our election infrastructure." She is a flipping freaking fraud. What a vile, hypocritical fraud. And that fraud, thankfully, is being called out by none other than the Department of Homeland Security. You may wonder why she came out and publicly admitted that they have non-citizens on their voter rolls. It's because just days before that press conference, Department of Homeland Security Secretary Mark Wayne Mullen sent New Jersey a letter warning that a preliminary federal review found as many as 35,000 potential non-citizens on the state's voter rolls. That's more than 5 times what Sherrill admitted to. And New Jersey isn't alone. Mullen's letter went to 4 states total. California with a staggering 190,000 potential non-citizen registrations. Nevada with 15,000. Pennsylvania with 14,000. That's over 250,000 potential non-citizen registrations in just 4 states. And Cheryl's response to that, by the way, well, she's claiming that the DHS hasn't handed over the evidence for that larger number. Again, this coming from someone who spent years chasing after a phantom Russian election interference and who took 3 years to catch their own non-citizens voting. Make no mistake, they wouldn't have said a word if DHS hadn't sent them that letter. So who the hell is she to determine the legitimacy of the evidence? Now, obviously, the White House is taking a victory lap here, as they should. A spokesperson is coming out saying that this blows up over a decade of the Democrats' gaslighting on this issue. The administration is now using this as fresh ammunition for the Save America Act, which would, of course, require states to verify citizenship through DHS's SAVE system before registering anyone for federal elections, something New Jersey, interestingly enough, has refused to do. Now, the key here is that this is not an isolated incident. This is a pattern. It's happening everywhere Democrats hold power. Again, the key example is freaking California. We just had a federal court settlement forcing the state to purge up to 1.5 million inactive registrations, and Judicial Watch has separately sued to remove hundreds of thousands more ineligible names from the voter rolls. But the state's own wacko liberal attorney general has thus far refused.
Yeah, they've sued. I saw something on this. I may have shared it in an extra, but yeah, there's like 11 million, and so far since 2017, they've removed 8, this many out of 11 million. I mean, what the hell? And they've been sued multiple times and lost the lawsuit, saying that they have to remove those invalid people on the election rolls. So yeah, they've removed 8. Isn't that amazing?
California's AG is refusing to clean house.
But yeah, this is just a partisan issue, okay?
When it comes to voter rolls. But it does look like it's the end of the rope for all of these election shenanigans. We've got a major circuit court decision that just green-lighted the U.S. Postal Service's ban on mail-in ballots for any state that doesn't turn over their voter records for confirmation of citizenship. We got President Trump himself taking a number of steps to secure the midterms. I mean, the Democrats are flailing here. But there is another area of corruption that goes way beyond elections. And this one, unfortunately, affects our health. Something is happening to American hearts. Nobody's talking. Here's Joe Rogan.
Yeah, that's it. Nanokinase supplementation can significantly reduce the size of existing arterial plaque.
Right when this batch cell health circuit court granted right now. If you can imagine, it actually gets even worse for the Democrats. Just days ago, a federal appeals court, the D.C. Circuit Court, granted the Trump administration a major win, allowing the U.S. Postal Service to move forward with a rule that lets it withhold delivery of mail-in ballots from states, i.e. Democrat states, that refuse to hand over their voter lists and use serialized ballot barcodes. Now, think about that timing. Right as New Jersey gets caught red-handed hiding a non-citizen voting scandal, the federal government just got legal cover to start pressuring non-compliant states directly through the mail system. So if this executive order goes back to an EO from Trump, if it's finally green-lighted fully and completely by the Supreme Court, we will no longer be relying on hypocritical leftists like Mikey Sherrill or Gruesome Newsom to be the caretakers of their voter rolls. Those voter rolls will have to be turned over to federal officials, or they don't get any mail-in ballots. And it doesn't stop there. President Trump has also gone after the Election Assistance Commission, the federal agency that certifies voting machines and helps administer the mechanics of elections. So earlier this month, Trump fired the final 3 commissioners. There were, I think 2 were Democrats. The final one was a Republican. They were all leaving the EAC with 0 confirmed members for the first time in its history. Democrats, of course, are calling it an attack on democracy. But here's the thing they conveniently leave out. This move followed a Supreme Court ruling just days earlier that expanded presidential authority to remove leaders of independent agencies. Again, this is literally the managerial state, the 4th branch of government that for decades was off limits from the executive branch, from the presidential powers. The Supreme Court has said they're not just this unelected bureaucracy that gets to live there forever. No, the executive branch has the right to hire and fire them as it sees fit. So this isn't some rogue power grab. This is the president, a duly elected president, using the authority the Supreme Court itself just confirmed he has constitutionally. And now he is exercising that authority over that commission that oversees the mechanics of federal elections nationwide. So let's zoom out and name what we're actually looking at here. You got a Democrat governor admitting non-citizens voted in her own state after a decade of Democrats calling that impossible. You got DHS finding a number nearly 5 times higher than what she admitted to. You got 250,000 potential non-citizen registrations across blue states, with California's own attorney general blocking further cleanup. You got a federal court clearing the way for the United States Postal Service to pressure those very non-cooperative states by withholding mail-in ballots from them. And you got a president reshaping federal election oversight with the Supreme Court's blessing. Now, I've been saying for months that the wall of denial Democrats built around election integrity, a decade of the conspiracy theory, again, coming from the very same people who were harping about Russian collusion for 3 years, that wall was going to come crashing down. And it is coming down. Not because of some Trump witch hunt, but because their own governor stood at a podium and admitted it herself. She's on record, and the DHS is still counting and coming. Before you go, my new book, CivCom.
All right. If you want to know about his book, the link is in the description box below. I'm going to click on the Rumble link here and show you that this video does come from Dr. Steve Turley. This is the video I shared with you. More information about this. DHS says there's 36,000. She's only admitting to, what, 20% of that? 6,000? 6,600? Sure wasn't 6,666. Sure that wasn't the number that she gave. But it's amazing how they lie to us with a straight face, with sincerity. It's a bold faced lie. Okay? But those are Democrats for you. Just keep voting Democrats, people. And you in those blue states and blue cities, just keep voting Democrat. And they'll screw you over every time. Okay, Wendy Bell Radio. Gaslighting Olympics. Now I wonder what this video is about. Well, let's click on the link and find out.
You know, I noticed something this morning as all of this election malfeasance is beginning to not just drip out now. We've gotten to the trickle part of the exercise where, it wasn't just in New Jersey where people who have no business voting in our elections were voting in our elections. It's happening over here in Nevada. It's happening here in Pennsylvania. It's in Washington State. It's in New York State. It's all over, ladies and gentlemen. And you and I know that when there's a point that's made that makes the deep state uniparty of suck, but primarily the left, look bad, you've got to have a counteraction, right? There's always some form of a blowback. And so the blowback to the idea that, really, there are illegals voting. No, duh. What do you think we've been talking about for years? All these new polls have come out. Have you guys noticed? There's a new poll that says nobody likes Donald Trump. Nope. I don't know if you guys do, but boy, oh boy, according to this, you would be in the minority. How about this? Generic ballot polling. This is from Emerson, all right? In October of 2008. So this is, who do you want to take back the House, right? Who do you want? Do you want Democrats or Republicans? Which vibe suits you better? Do you like the whole Make America Great Again thing? Yes, we've got some rhinos who are really crappy and we hate them as much as you do. But we believe in traditional stuff, in family values and in basic common sense living. We believe in, not being overcharged and having our money be stolen and given to other people who suck. That's sort of how we feel over here on the right. Then you got the left. Right? You've got this lunge towards everything wrong with young people today, particularly wealthy, college-educated white people, brainwashed. I don't know if it's their white privilege that's eating them alive, and now they've got to come out and be like, you know what we need? We totally need some socialism and communism in this country. Do you want those people who want to promise you the sky, but actually just take money from the wealthy people? So everybody's pissed off and broke because that's what they're selling. Well, in October of 2018, Democrats were +8. It was a pretty big margin, right? People looked at the options and they're like, I like Democrats better than Republicans. October 2022, Republicans +5. Things swayed. A 13-point swing. And then in 2025, in November of last year, Democrats were up by 3. Wow. By June of this year, up by 10. And now this month, people say they prefer Democrats to the Republicans by 11 points. I say that's complete and utter hogwash. You mean the Democrats who gave us 20% across the board inflation over the last 4 years? The Democrats who gave us home prices up 35%, mortgage rates went up 148%, gas prices up 46%, and food prices up 21%. You mean to tell me that everybody, like those Skid Row voters who voted for Nithya Raman, also voted for that tax hike? They're like, you know what we need? We need higher taxes. Let's go. This is as stupid as anything you will see today. And I've got more proof of that. Ready? Donald Trump, 38% approval rating. 56% of people can't stand him. Can you imagine? This guy is please. That means he's over the mark. It means he's making progress. It means the deal is happening. How about this headline from Mediaite? This is why the Democrats are in a total panic and the deep state is doing this organized propaganda Olympics. Really what it is. AOC jumps out to a strong early lead in the presidential poll while Kamala Harris barely registers. Okay, you mean to tell me that the majority of people these clowns polled said, you know what, that AOC, I want me some of that. In fact, I want that more than anybody else. Oh, please. How about this? Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has jumped to the top of a new 2028 presidential poll while former Vice President Kamala Harris barely registered. Well, no, duh. She is brain dead. The University of New Hampshire. Okay, for whatever it's worth, University of New Hampshire, I'm sure they're fine, released the poll hours ago showing AOC leading the field of potential 2028 presidential candidates, nominees, followed by former Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg. Okay, right out of the gates in the first two sentences here, they're screwed. AOC is your girl, the girl whose number one legislative victory was being a champion of the Green New Deal. Are you kidding me? The woman who pushed climate nonsense and went down to the border under Trump's first term and hugged a toilet, basically said people were saying that women are drinking out of the toilets in these detentions. But when they're flooding the border and getting raped, 67 times on their journey from South America, that's cool. Really? That's the one you want? The woman who chased 40,000 jobs out of New York when she was like, yeah, Amazon, I don't know. It's just so capitalistic. I mean, no, I'm not for that. And just poof, there go 40,000 well-paying jobs, ladies and gentlemen. That woman is sitting pretty at the top of the heap with 22% support of these presumptive Democrat voters. And Pete Buttigieg, can we say he's following closely behind? He's grown out his big, thick lumberjack beard because he thinks that being gay apparently is not a good thing to run for president. Whatever, nobody cares. We care that you were a horrible mayor. We care that you were a horrible transportation secretary. Hey, Pete, it took you 3 weeks to get to East Palestine, Ohio after the train derailment, and those freaking rock stars were like, I don't know, Earl. What do you think we should do? I don't know. We could drain it and, then lift it up and take it off the tracks. Let's light it up. Okay. And then goes all of the toxic chemicals for how many miles? Where was Pete? Well, he wasn't in East Palestine, Ohio. And then when he did show up 3 weeks later, he lied and told everybody, the water is great. Don't worry that you can see that rainbow oil slick on it out of your faucet. It's going to be just fine. Who's next? Mark Kelly, the senator, the seditious sixth senator, Mark Kelly, former astronaut who's run on gun stuff because of his wife, Gabby Giffords, right? What's that fool done? Nothing. Gavin Newsom barely registers. Why? I don't know. Maybe because this New Hampshire poll has people there at least seeing him for being the derelict fraudster that he is. You guys, this whole set of polling, right? Trump's bad. AOC, everybody can't wait to get a slice of that. And boy, Pete would be fantastic. Oh, by the way, let's not forget all of the air traffic controllers, that all of the muddying of the requirements to be a qualified. You could be an epileptic under Pete Buttigieg's Department of Transportation and FAA, you guys, and control planes. Tell me that makes sense. They're scared. That's it. They're scared. The money's drying up. Fraud is being exposed. The aliens that they brought in with your money, we know who they are. We know what they're doing. Everything they get behind turns to dust. Everything. Every agenda item has some nefarious back door where somebody else is getting paid and somebody's getting screwed. And it's always you. There's no way. In no world are you going out and polling 1,200 people right now and having the majority say they just can't wait to get the Democrats back in the saddle. Look, Republicans suck too. I'm with you. But I think we at least have a framework. It's now just about carving out the rhinos and getting in some actual patriots. We're well on the way, ladies and gentlemen. By the way, J.D. Vance in the same poll, 36%. Marco Rubio, right behind him, 26%. When they're putting out polls, guys, they are gauging which way the winds are blowing because they're lost at sea. That's what I read.
Yep.
100%. AOC's all excited. She's made the news headlines again. Good luck with that, Democrats. See you in 28. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, the narrative is kind of changing about this whole illegal alien voter thing. It went from it never happens to a whole new strategy. I can't wait to share it with you. You've already heard it. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network.
All right, well, let's get it up here and see what that's all about then.
Ho, 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 it's magic, you know.
So when you start seeing this flurry of polling out there, we've got another one to drop on you a little bit later on the program. We got to think about this very skeptically, because polling, just like the fake news headlines, just like the garbage the congressmen and women and the senators drop on you on the steps after work each day, it's propaganda. It's meant to get you somewhere. It's meant to push you somewhere. Why can't everybody just knock it off? Why can't you just go do your job and do it to the best of your ability like you told your constituents you would? Why can't you do it with honor? Why can't you do that? Why can't you tell the truth? What is so hard? What are you hiding? What are you afraid of? I think that's the real story. I want to play you guys this supercut. Okay? So the narrative is changing now that there's no evidence that illegal aliens are participating in our elections. After that went in New Jersey this week. And by the way, it's gotten worse. It's not 6,600 illegals who've registered and several hundred to vote. It's more than that. I want you to hear now how we're moving away from some of the stuff. It's a problem that doesn't exist. That's where we were, okay? Now it's going to be, but it's not enough cheating to really make a difference. Let's remember where we were with this supercut. There's no evidence.
There is no evidence that undocumented migrants vote.
We're debating a problem that does not exist.
This is a solution in search of a problem that does not exist.
The evidence is almost no illegal immigrants vote. Some benign effort to tell the small number of illegal immigrants.
The reports show voter fraud is exceedingly rare, but there's a couple things we know about the administration.
Citizen voting in federal elections is already illegal.
There is no evidence of fraud or corruption because we don't have a problem with illegal aliens voting in the country.
It's not an issue that you have undocumented people in mass numbers voting.
Very, very rare instances, but then just make the bill workable. But
it is absolutely vanishingly rare. No system.
There's no evidence that non-citizens are voting.
I think they think that it's already against the law for
talking about a solution to a non-existent problem. Again,
foreigners do not vote in our elections. Maybe it's partly about the SAVE Act, which is a ridiculous solution to a problem that does not exist. Foreigners do not vote in U.S. elections. That's the fact.
It's already illegal for non-citizens to vote in the United States. They face prosecution and jail time for doing it. The Save America Act attempts to solve a problem that does not exist.
Well, it's also illegal to murder people, and people do that anyway. They're dick. Oh, dick. Right? It's illegal to shoplift. Well, we know that happens all the time. It's illegal to do a bunch of stuff. It's illegal to cross our border and then break our laws to register to vote and vote in our elections there, Dick Durbin. Now, Allison Steinberg, she's with Pocahontas. She's with Elizabeth Warren. And she says, Senator, again, this is the gal from Lindell TV who's killing it. With New Jersey now admitting thousands of illegals are registered to vote and hundreds already have, are you more or less interested in passing the Save America Act so we can knock this crap off? Let's listen in.
Hi, just a quick question for you. I know you're vehemently opposed to the Save America Act, but does the recent revelation in New Jersey with the aliens who are actually registered to vote change your opinion on getting that legislation passed?
Look, it is already illegal for someone who's not an American citizen to vote, period.
But there's at least 400 aliens that did vote.
There are already laws to prevent that. And if people have violated the law, then they should be prosecuted. Easy.
Anything's actually going to happen. I thought Democrats always said that there's no evidence of
I don't understand why you want laws that are already there. That makes no sense.
But I thought Democrats Democrats said illegals never vote, but obviously they do, right? Thank you, Senator.
Okay, I want to jump in here. Don't we already have gun laws that, the Democrats keep saying that guns kill people? No, there's laws against killing people already. So why do we want more laws to prevent people from owning guns that don't go out and kill people? That you have used those guns for hunting or for self-protection? What double? Oh, it's one of those double standard things. That's right. If there weren't for double standards, the Democrats would have no standards. I forgot. Sorry, excuse me.
It's already illegal. How's that an answer, Liz? How's that? And then Allison with Senator Tammy Duckworth, who's in a wheelchair, who knows why. She says she has no idea what the reporter is talking about. She's paid no attention to the news whatsoever. And this is a sitting U.S. Senator.
Following the governor of New Jersey's announcement yesterday regarding the over 6,000 aliens that are actually registered to vote due to a flaw in the system in New Jersey, does that change the Democrats?
I've not seen that report. I'm sorry.
What about the president's announcement that there's over 250,000 aliens registered to vote?
I have not seen any of those reports, so I'm not at liberty to comment on it.
They were recently declassified. Will you take a look at them? Because Democrats.
I've not seen the reports. So when I get to see the reports, I will certainly. But certainly, we don't have such problems in Illinois. Thank you.
It's not happening in Illinois, not at all.
Right.
Do you think she knows about the 450,000 missing unaccompanied migrant kids who came across the border and the Biden administration lost? Do you think she knows about that? I don't know about these things. It's like saying there's no election fraud. Donald Trump said all these cases, he got none of them. No judge would agree to hear the case. Does that mean there wasn't evidence? Does that mean the case could not have been won? Can two things not be true? That is a very despicable strategy on the left. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I didn't hear. Yeah, I'm not familiar with that. Yeah, I didn't see that brief. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not to top secret. That's classified. Well, that's all right. We'll have to get plus polling suggesting Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is going to be the salvation of the Democratic Party. And you've got pretty much your table set. They're cooked, ladies and gentlemen. They got nada. They got no one. They got no money. They have no hope. Oh, I love this. This is going to be fun. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, let's go back over all the people who are telling us it just doesn't happen. Voter fraud? No, never. Really? Next.
Okay, I told you we were going to talk about this because now not only has it been reported by the Department of Justice and other agencies under Donald Trump, but now the Democrats themselves are actually coming out and admitting it. So, what are you going to do? Of course, they're admitting to a fraction of the actual fraud, but at any rate, they're still admitting it, which is a step in the right direction. Let me click on this Rumble link here and show you that this video does come from Wendy Bell Radio. Okay, this is the video I shared with you. I've given her a thumbs up. I hope you do the same thing for me. Okay, so let's jump back here and let me copy these chats. Hi, Debbie BS. How you doing? Glad you could join us. All right, let me copy these chats into a comment so that they will be a permanent part of the video. There we go. Boom. All right. I want to remind you folks that these videos that I share with you are videos that do come directly from the producer's channel, okay? I have links here to the videos in the description box and links to the producer's channel here in the description box. And these videos that I share with you are videos that I've posted on Murtech.com, where I have over 40 no-nonsense, common sense, logic and truth videos. This is your one-stop shop for information that you're not going to get from the mainstream media. No nonsense, common sense, logic and truth. The link to Murtech.com is in the description box. I invite you to join me there. It's a free site. I don't ask for your name. I don't ask for your email address. I don't drop cookies on your computer or have ads popping up in your face. It's just a spot where you can go to where I do the surfing for you, and all you have to do is come and click on the news, the no-nonsense, common sense, logic, and truth news. Now, I'd like to share all of it with you, but unfortunately, I don't have the time to do so, and that's why I've put together Murtech.com's or Murtech's Daily News Wrap-Up, where I have, it says 20 videos here in my playlist, about 10 or 11 hours worth of great information. Wendy Bell Radio, we're going to take up where we left off. Dan Bongino, same thing with him. We the People News, X22 Report, Steve Deace Show, On the Fringe, And We Know, AP for Liberty. A ton of great information here for you folks. So right now, just go ahead and take a break. Grab a cup of coffee and a donut or a nice glass of wine and some cheese and meet me back here in about 15 or 20 minutes so I can get this set up in Rumble Studio. And so with that being said, I do want to thank you for being here with me. Hopefully, I'll get to see you again later, and may God bless.